Yes, it's a Finnish football show. I'm Mark Wiltshire. Welcome to FFS 38. And today I'm joined by Keke. Hi, Keke.
Hello.
We're not quite flying solo, but there's only two of us today, so this might be a very short show. But the season's about to start, or the Veikkausliiga season anyway, is about to start. And we're excited to get back into the stands and cheer our teams on. So we thought, what better way to ramp up that excitement at the start of the season than looking at all those shiny new players that each Veikkausliiga club has, and looking forward to those opening Veikkausliiga games. Unfortunately, it's never quite that simple since the COVID era started a year ago, and we'll have to look at when the fans might actually be able to get back in to the stadiums. But we'll be able to watch on TV. So we'll also look at the recent announcements about Euro 2020. Is travelling allowed? Are any of the Finnish football show team still going? And also about the squad, because there's been a change to the number of players that can be selected for each country. So we've got a few things to talk about. Keke. Um, how about if we get this show started with got a selection of kind of short stories. And I sort of mentioned it a little bit at the beginning there, but the Euro 2020 situation. You had tickets, Keke. What's going on at the moment?
Well, I still have got tickets. I had until FIFA were kind enough to give me until the 22nd, I think it was the 22nd or the 24th or something like that of April to return my tickets, no questions asked, for a full refund, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I mean, I'm I'm not as optimistic as I was. I'm starting to think, I won't be going to Euro 2020, but yeah, I just couldn't bring myself to return those tickets. I've still got my flights to Denmark. Currently Denmark are forbidding foreign travel, so currently I'm not allowed anywhere near Denmark. But I'm just, in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, there's still a few. Well, it's a matter of weeks now, really. We're talking, aren't we?
Yeah, it
But
is. Yeah.
there's still a few weeks to go. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath. But yeah, I couldn't bring myself to return those tickets, and I mean, there's all sorts of, these stadiums now are only going to be between 25, 30. Some are going to be 50% full. So even if you didn't return your ticket, even if you kept hold of them, I don't think there's a guarantee that you'll still you can still get in. Do you know what I mean?
So
It's
what if you are you vaccinated yet against COVID?
No, not quite. I just had the wonderful institution that is the NHS have sent me a text message this week, actually, to go and book myself in for my first vaccination jab. So, but it's 12 weeks between your first jab and your second jab. So I don't even know how that works. I mean, everyone keeps going on about COVID passports and all that old business, but yeah, I'm I'm pretty sure, I'm gutted, but I'm pretty sure I won't be going anywhere. I mean, got me fan ID here, ready
Oh,
for
look at
Russia.
that.
So I'm just gonna stick that round my neck, and I shall be watching with this round my neck in the pub, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah,
possibly.
so
So you've
yeah, but
you
it's coming.
will
I'll
have
tell you
had.
what, it'll be coming to the pub with me.
Yeah, for sure. And you will have had your first jab by then. You do have a flight booked. You might not be able to use it. Even if you can use it, you've got a ticket for a game. But if you get there, you still might not get in.
Yeah, I think it goes to a ballot. So everyone who's kept if a certain amount of people have kept their tickets and not asked for refunds, then and it's over the percentage that the host nation's government says is safe to go in. I believe it goes to a ballot after that. But when that is, and exactly when you find out, I'm not sure. But yeah, so watch this space. But it's when I book my tickets, there's an option to because all the tickets are digital, so it's all just QR codes on your phone or whatever, being in the 21st century. but there was an option to tick the box and get some paper souvenir tickets as well.
Okay.
So at the very least, I might get 3 souvenir tickets to put in a frame on the wall.
That's what I was thinking. At least you'd have that, and with some of the contacts you've made in the last year or so, maybe you could get a few of the players to sign your tickets before you frame them. That would be quite nice.
That would be nice. That would be nice. But yeah, we'll again watch this space. It's there's news coming out and stuff daily really about it. But yeah, the big news is I've missed the deadline to return my tickets and I didn't do it. So there you go.
And do you know, you're in quite close contact with the Assam Yikor, so any idea what the supporters club are doing?
Well, the latest from them is not the greatest news either. I mean, those guys work so hard to get charter trains and charter flights booked. I mean, they had obviously we've spoke before about the fact that Euro 2020 was supposed to be based around 12 cities. And those guys at SMU Core work so very hard to get their trips sorted out, and you could join the flight at Helsinki, fly over to Copenhagen, and then they'd arranged it to go from Copenhagen to St. Petersburg, and then after that a round trip back home again. So all that was sorted, Basically, the SMU Core members who booked onto that charter trip just had to turn up, and they'd be taken from one country to the next country and back home again. But all that, unfortunately, has been cancelled. The charter trains down to St. Petersburg have been cancelled, and everyone who bought those tickets has been refunded by the SMU Corps. I mean, I completely understand, but it's just a shame. I mean, the SMU Corps is such a fantastic institution, and they try to keep their pricing as absolutely fair and reasonable as possible, but I'm quite sure that those charter trips that they would have sold would have put a few quid into their funds to keep the association ticking over for another year or so, So again, same as everyone else, they're in the same boat. That's revenue that they're going to miss out on. And more than that, it's as we keep talking about, it's the fans, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like the first ever major competition for Finland, and it looks like we might not have too many there to support them. But
it looks like we might have more.
First started talking about this.
Sorry, I was going to say, it looks like we might have more players there than supporters, which is not something that you often say at these tournaments. But there's been a change to the squad sizes that are allowed. That's
right. Yeah. So those are the listeners who tuned into our previous episode where we were talking about our squads and choosing our squads. Myself, Mark, and Rich. We tried so very hard to whittle the list down to 23 players, and now UEFA have announced that again because of COVID and the uncertainty that surrounds that, they've expanded the squads, and the managers can now choose up to 26 players. So our mate Rive's got another 3 players he can put on the plane. I mean, we agonised over which ones we were taking and which ones we were leaving out, and now it turns out that we could have taken a lot, so we could have 26. So
that whole last show is invalidated. No, it's not. It was good. It was good fun listening to you guys kind of argue the finer points. I'm sure most of us can agree that there's still no place in the squad for Eremenko, though. We don't need any going back in time.
Yeah, no time machines here.
Yeah, quite right. On a domestic Finnish football front, just a little. We've been sort of updating on the Suomen Cup through the first part of this year, and we're through the semi-final stage. I can't remember now if we covered that in detail in the last show or not. But let's just look back at the 2 semi-finals. So it finished Huuhkajat 4 into 0, sorry, and Kups 2, Honka 1. So we're set up with a final of Huuhkajat versus Kups on the 8th, Saturday the 8th of May. And the thing that caught my eye about that was that they're actually playing the final in the first half of the year rather than sort of having the semi-finals in April and the final in October. So that's quite an achievement this year.
Yeah, it's I don't know if that can we say that that's one positive to come out from the COVID epidemic. I don't know. It's
One small
the
one.
finals the finals getting played in May, which is traditional cup final month for us English.
Yeah, that's quite right.
yeah, that'll be nice. I mean, just touching on the semi-finals there. I mean, Inter Turku got to be disappointed with that, making it to a semi-final, especially after the season in Veikkausliiga they had last year, and then just to sort of capitulate 4-0 is no one likes to see that in a semi-final. But yeah, Cups and Huuhkajat, I think if you'd have asked the majority of people, I don't think that prediction would have been too far from anyone's minds for a final tie. So I mean, I'm going to go out there now and say that I can see, obviously, our absent friend Rich won't like me for saying it, but I can see Huuhkajat lifting that trophy, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they're looking strong this year. One thing I would comment is that in the quarterfinals, Asicor played Inter, so I watched that game and watched it closely, and I was surprised. I don't know, Inter seemed quite defensive, and I was surprised how much of the ball Asicor had, and actually pleased to see the way they moved the ball around, but just never managed to break through, and then sort of got done in the final minutes of extra time. Well, that was a real sickness. So I don't know if that was a tactic for that game, or if that's how they're going to play this year. We'll have a little look later at some of the transfers, and I wonder if that's a direction that they're moving in for this year. But if it is, it didn't do them much good in the semi-final. We'll lose it going, like you say, going down 4-0.
Yeah, well, you say that, and obviously we're going to come on to Veikkausliiga in a second and talk about that kicking off. But obviously the two teams that are in European competition kicked off already on Saturday, 24th of April, and Inter ran out 1-0 winners against Cups in that game. So yeah, I don't know. It may be a sort of defensive sort of display, and then nicking one for a 1-0. I didn't see the game personally. I mean, I think Rich was watching it in Ruutu, to be honest. But so we'll have to try and get his thoughts. But yeah, Inter Turku ran out 1-0 winners over Cups, and Huuhkajat had a thrilling 4-2 against FC Honka. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a switcheroo for the Suomen Cup semis there in the first league games this season.
Yeah, it's looking ominous, isn't it, that Huuhkajat banged 4 in the Suomen Cup semi-final and 4 in the first league game of the year. Shall we just declare now? let them have it, and the rest of us can play for the European places.
No, they're looking good. They're looking good. I mean, they're a super duper professional outfit, aren't they? You know what I mean? They've we'll have a look at transfers in a minute. A few coming and goings from them, and they're just up there, aren't they? You know what I mean? I think we're going to have to. The other clubs, as well as Inter did last year, I think the other clubs are going to have to go something to stop them this season. But yeah, we'll see. Plenty to go. Only just started.
Yeah, that's right. No, you're right. We shouldn't throw in the towel just yet. A week before the season starts. But you sent round an interesting graphic, and I've dropped all of this information into sort of the show notes blog. So wherever you're listening or watching this, you'll see a link just below that will take you to all of this information. But you sent something around about the playing budgets of the Veikkausliiga teams for 2021.
Yeah, that's right.
What sort of grabbed your eye in that? Anything that sort of surprised you?
Well, not really a surprise. I mean, first of all, just got to say, little shout out to the guys at Buri, because that's where I nicked the graphic from, and those guys are obviously the official content suppliers for Veikkausliiga now. So kudos to them. But the thing wasn't really a surprise. But the thing that did catch my eye is that Huuhkajat, as you will imagine, are top of the list with a playing budget for the season, and their playing budget at 1.7 million euros is almost half of SJK, who are behind them with 900,000 euros. So maybe I was a little bit surprised to see SJK in second with the second highest playing budget this season. But the biggest sort of shock, more than a surprise, was the fact that Huuhkajat is double their nearest rival in what they're available to spend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I might be misremembering, but I in my mind, Seinäjoki spent sort of 1.1 in some previous seasons, but after everything that went on last year, I wasn't surprised to see it there. I think as a fan, you have to be disappointed in how the league position has been in the last few years, bearing in mind that they've had pretty much the second biggest budget in tables like this for several years now. I think, well, let's look at the transfers in the second half of the show and see if we're seeing anything in the transfers that kind of reflects where these budgets are going. But yeah, you look at the bottom, and it's I can't quite work out which of the EFCO teams is on 400,000 and which one's on 560. But there's a few clubs on with a budget of sort of around 400,000 euros for the year, and that's a quarter of Huuhkajat.
So it's Huuhkajat who are down the bottom there with Kotepe. 400,000, and then Marienham have got a couple more quid midway up the league with just over 500,000 euros. But I mean, the top 4 or 5 pretty much speaks for itself. And I mean, speaking seriously, I mean, Huuhkajat aside, I think you could pretty much look at that financial table and think to yourself, that's not far off what the league table might look like. I mean, I don't know about your mob in second place.
I was going to say, as a SJK fan, I'd settle for that if only it were that easy.
But you've got Huuhkajat, SJK, Kups, Honka, Inter, Ilves, and they're the teams who are going to be there or thereabouts. I mean, we will chat a little bit about Huuhkajat in a minute, I suppose. What with our friend and former member of the SJK parish going over there to take control, and they've been doing lots of sort of little bits of business here and there during the closed season. So I expect them to make a fist of it this season. But yeah, again, the budget is not as big as some of the other clubs.
No, I think that's right, and I think we will pick up on that in the second half, and maybe now is a good time to have the halftime break. We normally have Jasilla Sipuli, but Mark's not here with one of his Finnish football phrases, so we're going to have a commercial break just after the whistle. Okay, and this is a very self-serving commercial break. So I think, first of all, Keke, get your T-shirt out for the lads and lasses.
Yeah, here we go. I've had this on in the previous show. I'll just move my fan ID out of the way.
Yeah, all right. We've seen your fan ID. Thank you very much.
I'm modelling one of the Finnish football show T-shirt designs. As you can see, we've got the Huuhkajat home shirt there, and those names and numbers on the back of those shirts are us, the members of the Finnish football show. And then you got the all important in the middle, the Finnish football show. So yeah, this is I like this design. It's come out really nice actually from the printers. So and I've got it on a sort of dark blue heather sort of colour, but it comes in navy, royal blue, and it looks, the royal blue's quite nice actually. The white of the Finnish football shirt stands out on the royal blue, but Yeah. What about the colours you're wearing?
Yeah, so this is let's say this is a prototype. This is the team colours series that I put together on there. It's just the Finnish
I'm
football show.
surprised to see you wearing the Cups one, Mark.
Yeah,
The yellow and black one.
it's true. I do feel that I didn't quite hit the Asicor colour quite right there. And after you broke the shop and then fixed it, I'll leave it there now. I did go through, and with some of the clubs, I found more closer color codes for the colors. So this does look a little bit like the Cooks one. You're right, but hopefully the other one, and it's difficult. We're creating these and uploading them online, and you're never quite sure how they're going to come when they come from the printers. So I took this, but I'll be wearing it at the game.
Yep.
When I'm allowed to get into the game. So what's in so this is what I wanted to do, was to create our design, but do it in colorways so that whichever club you support in the Finnish league, you can show your colors and support us. And these shirts are printed to order, and every shirt you order, we get a little cut, which will go just towards covering some of the running costs of the Finnish football show.
Yeah, they're available from tpublic.com. But if you go to our Twitter or our website or our Instagram, you'll be able to make your way to the finishfootballshow.com and find your way to TeePublic there. But yeah, there's a couple of designs. We've got a nice Huuhkajat owl design over there supporting the Finnish football show along with the national team, and a couple of other Finnish football logo designs. So head over to TeePublic and have a little look. I think they're priced at about €20, aren't they, Mark?
Around about there, yeah. The prices seem to fluctuate. We have no control over that either. So if there's a sale on, get in there. But around about 17 to 20 euros. And if I'm organised after this, either look down at your phone where you're listening to this, or below the video down there, there should be a link to where you can find these things. But if you don't want more clothes and you still want to support the show, we've got a couple of ways you can do that as well. We've got a profile at buymeacoffee.com. So it's buymeacoffee.com/FFS podcast, where you can, well, not buy us a coffee, but buy us a beer. And Keke, there's someone we wanted to give a big shout out to there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we wanted to have a big thank you to Farid, who's chipped in and bought us a couple of beers. So thanks very much to Farid. Yeah, he's listens to the show, and he's been on to that buymeacoffee.com and chucked us some cash our way. So that's very, very kind of you, Farid, and we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate you putting your hand in your pocket even more. It's very kind of you, and yeah, it just goes to the to help with the running costs of getting the show hosted and all that sort of business. So yeah, thanks very much to Farid.
Yeah, and also while we're doing shout outs, just hello to James, who I came across recently in a business call, and while we were talking, he said, "Yeah, I saw your name and thought that's Mark from the Finnish Football Show." And I'm sure, James, it was even more of a buzz for me to hear to know that someone's listening.
Fame at last. Fame at last.
It's small fame, but yeah, thanks, James, and it was good to chat. Maybe we should stop talking about ourselves, blow that whistle, and head into the second half. Okay, here we are. Second half. We mentioned it a little bit before, and there's a really helpful page on the Veikkausliiga website. I can never find it, but Rich always seems to have it to hand. But it's a kind of the transfer roundup each season. They start this page at the beginning of the year, and it just gets updated regularly. So this has been updated just a week or so ago. So it's as good as we need as we're a week away from the start of the season. There. This is normally where I let Mark go on and on about all these players that have come over, and they seem to know a hell of a lot more about this than I do. But we both got the page open, I think, Keke, so perhaps we can start at the top and work through each club and just pick out a few things that we can notice from there. And it seems to start with well, Huuhkajat is alphabetical order, so it would do this year. I noticed that your boy Eero Markkanen has left and gone to Orange County over in the USA. You must be heartbroken.
Well, no, well, you say that, but I'm sort of looking forward to seeing Eero over there in America. He's there's a few pictures come out. He seems to enjoy the weather, and they've had a couple of friendlies, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to him getting back to playing football again. You know, obviously, I'm a big fan of Jyväskylä and anyone who comes out of there, and Eero's been very gracious with his time with us and with myself in the past. So yeah, just wish him the best of luck over there in America.
The next in the list is Huuhkajat. I hope we both pronounced it properly this year. And what I kind of noticed from this is you mentioned earlier about Joaquin Gomez, who's gone from Asicor first team coach to kind of head coach at Huuhkajat, and there's been a big turnover of players there, but you can sort of plot his moves as a coach and see the fingerprints of that in players that they've picked up. I don't know specifically, but you can see one or two from the UK that I suspect have come across Joaquin's path when he was coaching over in the UK at Luton and Derby and Brighton, for example. Then also a few players that have come from Asicor that were in Seinäjoki last year, and there's one on loan, and I think 3 that have been signed permanently. And the big shock for me was Mate Radetsky going. Yeah. I was so happy when he came back last year to Seinäjoki, and having had the bad injury and left a few years previously, and thought he was still young and could still really make a place for himself there. And I remember when I interviewed Joaquin about a year ago, he said that it wasn't a surprise when I saw Mate go, because I knew how highly Joaquin kind of regarded him from the short time they'd worked together already then. So yeah, but sad still to see him go there. But also pleased that Jeremiah Strang from Seinäjoki has gone there on loan for a season to get that kind of first team experience and hopefully come back with some goals to Seinäjoki at the end of the season, a year older and a year more experienced.
Yeah, I mean we've spoken about Huuhkajat a little bit in previous shows, and I don't think this is anything short of a Huuhkajat revolution there with Joaquin Gomez and another friend of the show, Anthony Niemi, has joined the coaching staff over there. Yeah, as you said, he's brought in a few familiar faces. Callum Ward, who was initially on loan from Bournemouth, has now signed a permanent deal. So he must have enjoyed himself there for the first few months in Helsinki, and he's decided to make his transfer permanent. So yeah, good luck to him.
Little shout out also to Callum's dad, because he reached out to us. I'm just trying to find the post where he was where he contacted us on the Facebook page, I think. But
yeah, and he's also following us now over on Instagram as well. So yeah, nice to see him over there and getting involved in Finnish football. Obviously following his son's career. But
everyone's following you on Instagram, Keke.
Well, yeah, it's where the kids are at, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Too cool for school, aren't I? But yeah, it's as I said, it looks like a bit of a revolution happening at Huuhkajat, and I think despite not having the largest playing budget, I think we might see decent things from them this season.
Yeah, and just to finish off that, just see one or two or three players coming over from Spain as well. So again, maybe that Spanish connection there. It'll be interesting to see how they get on this year. Actually, I'll be watching them a little bit more keenly than I would have done in the past. So best of luck to Joaquin to finish second behind Asicor this year. What about Huuhkajat? I mean, what's interesting for me there is they've brought in, Oh, it looks like 15 players have come in. I can't count that quickly, but a lot, and only about 7 have left. So they need that big budget, clearly.
Yeah, I mean the one that sort of caught my eye there was Sebastian Dalstrom. He's in from FK Sheriff Tiraspol, and he's sort of got his move away from Finland, and everyone thought, oh, he's gonna go away and sort of do big things, but it never really took off for him abroad, and so he's come back, made his way back to Huuhkajat, and I'm sure he'll settle straight in. He was there before, and and expect to see some decent things from him. But who else have we got? Kalle Katz is in from Rops, and another player who I think we should sort of keep an eye on.
I think Ashley Keke, he came back from Rops on loan, but he's gone out to Ilves.
Yeah.
So
has he now?
In one door and out the other. Yeah, it seems to be.
Revolving door, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
And another one who's gone away on loan, who we've been talking about between ourselves because he's gone to SJK, is Pyry Hannala, young Pyry Hannala. So you'll be interested to see how he gets on.
Yeah, we now I'm trying to think who I spoke to, but just the idea that he's an exciting ball. It was the okay, here's a plug. There's the ASIC or Not to Yoki podcast, and I've done a few episodes there in English and spoke to Brian Page, the academy director there, and he said that Hannula is a kind of exciting ball player. He'll get the ball. He's got some skills, and he'll also sort of moving with the ball as well. So it just be interesting to see. He's only young. He's only 19, I think. So interesting to see if he makes the place his own in the team there, and how he performs in the Veikkausliiga. So let's see.
Another one who's gone out of Huuhkajat is someone who we've spoke about previous as well, Rasmus Schuller. Obviously, Huuhkajat central midfielder. He's gone to Djurgården in Sweden, and he's been playing really well in Sweden. Their season's kicked off, and he's been chipping in with sort of 7, 8 out of 10 performances every week for Djurgården over there. So good luck to Rasmus.
The next team on the list here is Honka, and it seems to me like nobody told Honka that there was a transfer window open. There's three players come in and half a dozen left. They finished 4th last year, which is good. And into Europe. They're clearly confident in the team they've got.
Yeah, I mean, they've let a few go, as you said. One or two additions. Otto Huuhtanen from HIFK, and a guy called Darren Smith from
EIF.
E and my eyes mixed up. IEF. But yes, I'll have to be honest, I'm not too familiar with. But it's obviously the name sticks out like a sore thumb, so we'll have to do a bit of homework and see what Darren Smith's all about. So, but yeah, it's exciting to see how Honka get on. They're traditionally one of the bigger sides, I guess. So yeah,
quite a turnover at Mariehamn as well. I feel like in the last year or two we've talked a bit about Albion Ademi and the goals he scored. Yeah. He's got to move to Djurgården in Sweden. Yep. And also Maximo Tolonen. He was at Seinäjoki a couple of years ago and then moved to Mariehamn. I guess after 2 years of not really breaking into the team, had a season there. Now he's gone to Ilves. So I was quite excited by him. He was very young when he got his chances in the Seinäjoki team, 16, and I wanted him to stay a bit longer. I believed he could really become something, but let's see if Ilves is the place where he can kickstart himself.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Mariehamn. They've picked up quite a number of players from within the Veikkausliiga. It's I don't know. It's if these players are just sort of jumping around from club to club there, but yeah, they've picked up quite a few from within the Veikkausliiga, and then you've got Musa Kone, who's coming from Parma, no less, in Italy. So recently relegated, I believe, Parma. So yeah, don't know quite what the story is there, but anyone who comes with that sort of pedigree has got to be worth a look.
I think over the years, Parma are not quite the team now that they were maybe
right.
20 odd years ago. But
trouble.
It's a big name to see there written on the screen. And actually, there's a couple of players there from Parma have come. Olawale Tehe as well, coming from Parma. And someone whose name I've seen you mention a few times lately, Saku Ulatupa. Has gone back to Sweden as well at the end of a loan.
Yeah, he's obviously he was a Ajax Amsterdam and didn't quite work out for him there, but he's going great guns in AIK in Stockholm at the moment. He provided the assist or the cross for the goal in their derby victory over Hammarby this weekend, and he's playing really well. I'm not quite sure of his age, to be honest, but he's still only very, very young. And we've seen plenty of Finns go to AIK before and then make their name or get some game time and move on. I mean, my old mate Eero, he's been through there. Sauli Väisänen's been through there. Robert Taylor was there for a little while. So it seems to be. AIK in Stockholm, they were not shy of picking up Finns and sort of giving them a chance. But Saku seems to be playing really well there. So long may that continue.
And so to Ilves, and now we're starting to sort of see the names of players we've mentioned moving from other places. But I guess the big move away was Lauri Alamulimäki, who went to Venezia in Italy. That's a nice move.
Yeah, he seems. They seem to have picked him up as one for the future. There, I mean, he's been joined by Nicky Maanpää in Venezia. And Nicky's played a couple of first team games, but yeah, Lauri's. I think they've picked Lauri up as one of the future, one for the future. But the other big one for me from there was Mika Hilander. I mean. He's pretty much a club legend there, and and he's made the move over to FC Huuhkajat. So yeah, that's a sort of bit of a end of an era type stuff there, I think.
I noticed that as well. I thought that was surprising, but I'm also seeing towards the bottom of the list that Nathan Skuta, very young player. That sort of got some game time last year, has moved to Toulouse in France. That's another decent move.
Decent move. Yeah, Richard spoke about him. So another one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. What about Inter? FC Inter's another team that haven't brought in a lot of players. I don't know if this is sometimes balancing the books, but they lost Filip Valencic to Huuhkajat. Yeah. Along with about 7 or 8 other players, and have brought in just 4 new players into the club.
I think with a player like Valencic, he did quite well last season, and I think that might be one. Huuhkajat doing there well. We're not having him playing well against us and limiting our chances to win the league, so we'll just buy him. So. There used to be a story in Italy in Serie A years ago where if you had a good game against AC Milan, they would just buy you and stick you on the bench as punishment. So hopefully it's not one of them scenarios. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It just sounds to me like or feels to me like Huuhkajat have looked around the league and just sort of handpicked some of the decent players. But yeah, that's what I sort of. I think may well have happened there, but yeah, into what we got on the list there, 4 or 5 they've added. 4, is it?
4 added, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they did well. They did brilliantly last season, and I think if they carry on the way they were going for most of last season, they'll be all right. And you know, it's not always about bringing in hundreds of new faces when you've got a decent team spirit and a decent work ethic already. I mean, the main man there is Timo Furuholm, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's if he can keep the well, mind you, he's turned his mind to politics a little bit lately, I've seen. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think as fans, you know, maybe if you're a fan of a big club, you expect your team to kind of evolve each year, but you don't expect the entire squad to turn over. Me as a fan in the UK of Wimbledon and over the last 20 years going through the non-league, it was almost like the entire squad changed each season.
Yeah.
So I personally like to see clubs evolve, and that seems to be what Inter are doing. You know, a few strategic changes maybe, and not changing everything because they didn't need to, because they had a good season. And next we've got Cortepe, so one of the promoted sides from Ukkonen last year. The name jumping out at me was Johnny Laaksonen, former ASIK midfielder. He's had some travels recently over to, I think, Sweden or Norway, and back to Mariehamn, and now to Cortepe. So nice to welcome him back to the Oma Asper Stadion sometime this year. Although that's one of the games that's at the start of the season that we're not going to get to see. So sorry about that, Johnny. But the players that have left, I don't know too much.
No. I mean, yeah, I don't know a great deal about Cortepe, as you say, promoted last season. Obviously, they've got the old Teemu Pukki pedigree that they're pushing. They've produced arguably our best player for a generation. So yeah, we'll see what they get up to. But the one that just because of the name and the stature of the club, despite it being the B team, is this Pierre Daniel Nguindo, who's come from Monaco there in France. So yeah, just another interesting one. Picked him up from Monaco B, and let's see what he's made of.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame Rich is not here as we move on to Cups, because we were just talking about Inter evolving. Cups definitely seems to be going through some kind of revolution. My screen's almost not big enough to count how many.
Yeah, there's
16 new players in, and probably about 10 out the door. Obviously, changing manager, Simo Balakari back to Finland from Norway as the new head coach. So this is kind of, I guess, new broom sweeping clean there. They gave ASIK a bit of a hiding in the Suomen Cup earlier in the year. That means anything. That's been done before. The
interesting one for Cups is there's one or two that they've picked up from Finland there, but a lot of these players are from overseas or have been playing overseas, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think he's got his work cut out getting that lot to sort of gel, I think. But yeah, he's you know, he's got some pedigree behind him so much. So we'll see how they get on. But they're guaranteed to be there or thereabouts, aren't they?
You would think so, and otherwise Rich will be very upset, and we don't want Rich to be upset. But you know, there's no other big recognizable names coming in and nor leaving. So yeah, hopefully this is kind of a strengthening and going forward and into Europe as well for next year. FC Lahti, again, not too many changes. Dermot Penningangas, again, former ASIK player, was in Ireland for a year or two. He's gone back.
He's an absolute giant of a man.
He's a big boy, yeah, and he used to play sort of left back, left wing, and when he picked up steam, he'd go powering down that left wing. I don't like watching Lahti. Seinäjoki can't beat them, and we never have a good game against them. But I noticed there that a couple of players have left to go to Orange County with Eero. So someone's been
Mikko
doing some.
Kuningas and Patrick Rovovsky joined Eero in Orange County. I think Kuningas came on at the weekend. They as I said, they've had a couple of pre-season friendlies, and Kuningas got some minutes at the weekend. So see how they get on. But they got a flashy new Juventus style badge. FC Lahti.
That's true.
They've
That's true.
ditched the football sided by the Seahorses or whatever they were, and they've gone for a new Juventus style L.
It's like a three lines folded in the corner, isn't it, to make an L? Yeah, it's very
So
very
I think
snazzy.
that's possibly their biggest change and signing of the season is their new badge.
Their badge designer. Okay, we're nearly there. We've got two more teams to go, and first it's Oulu. So that's the other team that came up from from Ukkonen this year. I can see that Jarkko Hurme has gone there from KPV and also Obed Malalo. So they're names that I recognise from their Seinäjoki days. Not too many others there, if I'm completely honest. And then finally, Seinäjoki. It's funny, we were talking before we started recording that there's 7 new players come into Seinäjoki in this closed season. But because some of them have been playing sort of for the last few months in Suomen Cup, to me it doesn't feel like there's that many new players here. There's also the players that joined in the middle of last year. So they still feel like fresh players. So it's strange. There's a lot of newness since this time last year, but it feels like it's been evolving slowly and not too much all at once. We mentioned Puru Hannola. Also, I think that Christian Valencia and Rodrigo Arciero have
a couple of South Americans there.
Yeah, exactly, and they've been playing a bit in the Suomen Cup and kind of making their presence felt with sort of goals and assists already. So that's they're sort of defensive or midfield players, and that's good to see sort of goals and assists coming from other places. From those that have left, and a couple of younger players going on loan, which is great to see, and quite a few, as we said before, going down to Hawaii, of course. So I guess the one player, and this is a bit mean, but Hope Akman, who came from Bradford City, played his first Suomen Cup game, was it Suomen Cup game or friendly game, and saw a red card
sent off
very, very early. It was very grainy footage. We couldn't even see what was going on over the other side of the pitch. But I'm interested to see how he kind of fits in to central midfield. The one thing I noticed from the defeat to Inter in the Suomen Cup was that Jude Arthur, who's been with Seinäjoki a few years, he's now only like 21, but he really seemed to have grown into being this central midfield enforcer, if you like. And I spoke to him a month or so ago, and he said that he wanted to be that player, that kind of, I don't know, Makalele kind of player. So there's some real competition in the centre of the park there. So it'd be interesting to see how that comes through this year. And I think that's it, Keke. I think we're done with the transfers. And you sort of mentioned a little bit about the Veikkausliiga opening fixtures. There were a couple of games last weekend, as you talked about, but the season really kicks off on Sunday the 2nd with KuPS versus HJK, and then Monday there's the rest of the teams get a go. But it's kind of over that sort of 9 days from the 2nd to the 11th. Everyone gets a couple of games pretty much in the league. The thing that we maybe touched on earlier is that it looks like there won't be any fans there for the first couple of weeks. And in Finland, we kind of escaped all of that last year. We were able to go to games. Yeah, crowds were down and masks were on and things like that at various times. But now I feel like, I guess, fans all around the world have been feeling that there's a game going on a couple of kilometres down the road and I can't see it.
Yeah, it's a shame, but you know, we've sort of grown used to the empty stadiums, and I just hope, you know, I don't really want to go on about it. I just hope and pray that we're seeing the end of it now, and we can try and get back in there as soon as possible. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's not talk about what's bad. Let's talk about what's good. Let's look forward to this season getting started and hopefully getting into those stands within the next month and getting back to normal.
Just again, just want to touch on while our mate Rich isn't here. I mean, that's this Sunday. It's Cups at home to Huuhkajat, and as I mentioned previously, Inter Turku come away with a 1-0 win over Cups last week, and that could be two losses for Cups in the first two games, and for a team that wants to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, that's that's a bit of a rough start. So
that's a big shout, saying that behind Rich's back. You wouldn't have said that to his face, I bet.
Yeah, right.
That's what happens, Rich, when you don't turn up. You see, we can say what we like, and I'm editing tonight, so there's nothing you can do about it.
And then there's again. I mean, all the fixtures coming up on Monday they're all exciting to me. It's nice to see the season kick off in earnest, and as you say, by what, Sunday the 9th, Tuesday the 11th. By Tuesday the 11th, we should have a bit of a, people will have had a couple of games, picked up some points or dropped some points. We'll have a little idea of how the season's going to pan out. But yeah, just looking over the games coming up on Monday. What FC Lahti Inter Turku tickles me fancy. That'd be an interesting game. I mean, as I say, I'm excited for all of them. Helsinki IFK, FC Huuhkajat. That's another one that will be worth a look. I think to see how Helsinki IFK shape up with their new systems. So yeah, exciting times.
And let's draw it to an end there, Keke. For two of us, I think we've done quite well today, getting another show done.
Yep.
As we hear that final whistle, it's full time, and we have our following feature. And you've got someone that you've connected with online that you think you would recommend that other people follow.
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, everybody who watches and listens and follows knows that we're the number one English language podcast for Finnish football. But if you want extremely good content in Finnish language as well, then look no further than Pallo ja Pullo. Those guys over there. It's Tommy Curry, who used to play for JJK in Jyväskylä, and some of the guys from Huuhkajat over there, and they get just as good guests as we do, and they're turning out great content in Finnish language. So head over to Instagram and look for Pallo ja Pullo, and give those guys a follow.
And thanks to them for supporting what you're doing on our Instagram as well.
Yeah, they've been really supportive of what we're up to, and and I think it's only right that we show our support for them. And just while we're chatting about Instagram, Rich had a chat with some of the guys from Mundial magazine a couple of days ago, just about the Huuhkajat name and the owl masks that have been seen dotted about the place, not least on Lukas Radecki's head when he was celebrating getting into the Euros, and also when he was chatting to us on our interview with him. So get over to it's a sort of, am I allowed to say hipster? I don't know.
No one's allowed to say it about themselves unless they're a bit of a twit.
No, but it's a sort of, very, very decent, high class football magazine, and I've bought a few issues myself actually. And it's one of those magazines where you don't just read it; you sort of hold it and admire it. And yeah, the paper's special and it smells nice. Do you know what I mean? One of them. But
that
yeah,
makes
so
you a bit of a
weirdo.
hipster kicker.
Yeah,
I'm a weirdo, obviously. I mean, who who but a weirdo would make a podcast about Finnish football in English?
and they do. Yeah, Monday I'll do some great merch as well. So I picked up this shirt, which is a bit of a Corte Pair tribute. So yeah, give those guys a look.
Yeah, but more importantly, we have merch.
Yo, yeah, buy our merch first.
Okay, let's wrap it up there. Remember to follow our Facebook page for content coming directly from us, podcasts and blogs and things. You'll also find a link to our Facebook group where you can join in or start a conversation. And remember, there's the Instagram page that's mostly Keke's handiwork, and then the YouTube channel where you'll find this video and previous episodes as well. Or find us on Twitter. I'm more active on Facebook, but you'll find me on Twitter at Explore Finland. And you, Keke?
I'm on Twitter at Kekemulari.
And then Mark is at FC Suomi.
Yep.
And
Rich is at Escape to Suomi.
That's it. And for this episode of Finnish Football Show, I think we're just about done. So thanks for joining us. Find the TeePublic store, find a t-shirt and send us a picture. If you do buy something from the store, take a picture and send it in to us, and we'll make a big fuss of you because we'll love you forever.
That's it. Yeah, give us a tag and we'll share it.
Yeah, absolutely. But until next time, that's it from the Finnish Football Show. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.